time with the defensive play. Now finds Jalen Gray.
Oh, my goodness!
He did it!
Oh!
Jazz, the Jazz turn it. Oh! Cam Whitmore. Şengün goes coast to coast. Oh! Here's Williams. Here comes both teams. Here comes Rocket Security. And we got a
Red Nation Blogga back with another video. The Houston Rockets defeat the Atlanta Hawks 121-114. This game, the Houston Rockets controlled pretty much the entirety of the way through. There was some going back and forth. There was some battling early on. But once the double big lineup came into the game, the Rockets went up big and seemingly held the Atlanta Hawks at arm's length away from taking over the lead and taking over the game from that point on. This was a game where you start to see little flashes of the Atlanta Hawks' future. I do know that they're missing some guys, but Zachary Ricochet, he's really looking like he's coming into his own. He had 18 points on 8 of 16 shooting. You know, they had Okongwu, who had 14. Onyeka Okongwu had 14 points and 15 rebounds. Like, that was a great game. Dyson Daniels almost had a triple-double. He was 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double with 19, 8, and 10. And then you had Trae Young, obviously, who gave you his usual 19 and 12. The Atlanta Hawks, I don't know. Their direction is very, very weird. It seems like every single year outside of the 2021 season, they have been a play-in team. They have never been good enough to get back run that they had in 2021, and they've been chasing it ever since, making moves on the margins ever since, and they haven't been reaching that goal that they've been trying to strive for the longest ever since. And I think they're at a point now where they need to start becoming more sellers than buyers and build that team around the right pieces, like a Zachary Ricochet, like a Jalen Johnson, like a Okongwu. I think that needs to be the way that they go more so than what they're currently doing, because what they're currently doing, I just think they're just treading water. And you know, they got the number 1 pick last year. They got lucky, but I just don't think that's a sustainable way with this team as good as they will be and continue to be as they are a playing team. I just don't think that that's going to be the case. I believe that one of the reasons why the Atlanta Hawks are fighting and scrapping to continuously be a play-in team, I do believe that the reason why they don't want to completely blow it up is because the San Antonio Spurs own a lot of their first-round picks unprotected from the bad, horrible DeJounte Murray deal that they pulled off a few years back. So I think that's why the Hawks want to stay like relatively competitive. And if they're going to lose their picks, at least let it be from the 12 to 18 range while they continue to get better on the margins, rather than just blowing it up and start losing and everything like that. That's because they don't control their future. So that I can understand. But this is a team that, you know, I just think that they have pieces. They're just very, very weird pieces. And it's like, when is it going to convey for y'all? When are y'all going to be able to get back to that point that you were in 2021 and find some sort of direction, some sort of transparency on what's the next way to go? Where's the next route to go? That's just my opinion. On the Houston Rockets side, we got a lot to talk about. Jabari Smith Jr. off the bench, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 of 12 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3. This was a good Jabari Smith game today. This was a good one. I'm not going to sit here and try to bank on it. I'm not going to try to make any bold proclamations as we continue to go through the season and go through the playoffs. I'm going to take the highs with the highs and the lows with the lows. Whatever Jabari Smith Jr. gives on that night is what he gives. You know what I mean? Because he has shown that he really cannot be relied on to be that consistent shooting threat, be that consistent scoring threat, and pretty much live to his number 3 overall pick billing. But 33 minutes tonight, it was really, really nice. It was really, really nice to see him contribute as we get closer to playoff time. Dillon Brooks and Aaron Holiday. So for Dillon Brooks, we got 10 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 of 9 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. Dillon was solid tonight. I have no complaints with Dillon. I think he's been one of the most consistent players this season for the team. I don't know if I would say the most consistent, but on a nightly basis, you kind of know what Dillon is going to give and what he isn't going to give. Like, you know, it's some nights it can be high, some nights it can be low, but for the most part, Dillon Brooks hovers at being a really, really, really above average, like really, honestly, really good role player. That's not just this typical protege 3-and-D guy. Like, he does a lot of things for Houston Rockets that don't show up on the stat sheet, that do show up on the stat sheet. And, you know, I just love his consummate professionalism and how he comes and how he goes about his business. I really do. No complaints from Dillon Brooks. Another guy I want to give some shout outs to, some love to, Aaron Holiday, as I said, 6 points. He was 2 of 3 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. He only took threes, a plus 10 in 10 minutes. So if y'all watch Jeff T, the Club 520 podcast, he had a story recently where he said he was playing with Jabari Smith when he went back to Atlanta the second time for his second stint. And he said that the coach said, you're going to get 19 minutes. That's it. And Jeff T said, man, even if I have 30, like even if I'm hooping, I'm only going to have 19 minutes. And the coach was like, man, if you can get 30 in 19 minutes, you a bad motherfucker. But you're not playing 19 minutes. You're not playing over 19 minutes. And then they put up the averages for his season that season, and it was like at 18.25 minutes per game. I feel like that's kind of what Aaron Holiday got tonight. I think Ime Udoka said, man, you're not playing more than 10 minutes tonight. You're not playing more than 10 minutes tonight. No matter how well you're playing, you're not playing more than 10 minutes because Aaron Holiday came in the first half. He really contributed. He hit 2 big threes when the Rockets offense was kind of stagnating and nobody outside of like maybe a few players was really giving you anything. Aaron Holiday came in and he showed that he could be that guy off the bench that provides you some type of offense, that provides you some type of punch. And yet, as well as he played in the first half, I don't believe he saw the floor in the second half. So I think that this is one of those games where Ime just pointed maybe at Aaron and said, hey, be ready tonight. I'm coming to you. And then, he came to him and Aaron was ready. And then he came and that was all he gave. And that was all Ime asked for. That was all Ime needed. I feel like Aaron Holiday should have played more. But when I listen to stories like what Jeff Teague said, especially considering like he was a vet on his last legs. And I know Aaron Holiday isn't a vet that's on his last legs, but he is a vet and he's not like a high value player. I think that Aaron Holiday is going to have stories like that when he ultimately retires and maybe gets into podcasting or whatever the case may be. But let's get to the best part of the show, my favorite part of the show, the good. Man, I got quite a few players in the good, but for the sake of the pod, for the sake of the length of the pod, I'm gonna cut it down. I want to give flowers to Steven Adams, who in 25 minutes was a plus 19. At one point, he was a plus 22, I believe, in like 7 or 8 minutes or something like that, a play, something insane. But he only has 7 points. He only has 7 rebounds. It doesn't seem like numbers that's like really gonna, make you like go crazy or anything. But when you have more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds, you're doing something well. You're impacting the game, as you can see with the plus 19. Fred Van Vleet, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 5 of 14 from the floor, 3 of 8 from 3, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, protected the ball really well with only 1. He had a plus 13. He was the highest plus minus in the starting lineup. There's been a lot of conversation about Fred Van Vleet. There's been a lot of conversation about, especially after the game that he just had where they lost versus the Denver Nuggets. There's been a lot of conversations about, again, going back to the old stuff we talked about earlier this season, knowing when to get off the ball, letting Jalen dictate things more, X, Y, and Z, and why is he playing so many minutes? And I said to a guy on Twitter, I don't remember his Twitter name, but I feel this way for me. And if you disagree, that's fine. Fred Van Vleet, what he provides for this team, there isn't another position on the team that can supplement what Fred does. Our man has the ability to handle the ball. Jalen Green does have the ability to handle the ball. And hell, even Alperen Sengun initiates offense. But in the terms of how Fred does it and what he does to the table, and I know people hate the word like table setter, but that's really, really important what Fred does. He gets you in and out of sets. There are going to be nights where he's not the most efficient guy in the world and he's pressing and it seems like he's pressing and it seems like it's hurting the team. But that goes back to my earlier comments when I said that if you have your young guys on the team step up, and I was saying earlier in the season, him in particular, this guy on my wall, and he has been, Fred will take a natural back seat. But when you have a game where our man struggles and he's not seeing the floor, and Tari struggles and he's not seeing the floor, Ime is going to rely on the guy that he can trust and on the guy where there isn't a lot of positional versatility. There is nobody behind Fred Van Vleet that can legitimately threaten him for the point guard position. So because of that fact, he's going to get a lot of minutes and play this everybody is accountable but Fred type ball that everybody seems to hate and has coined. I didn't want to stay on that long. Pause. Lastly, in the good, Alperen Sengun, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 19 from the floor. He was 0-2 from 3, only 1 turnover. Listen, Alperen Sengun is learning. He's a learning player. He's hit another tough stretch of his field goal percentage being lower than what it needs to be for his average position and his positional output, et cetera, et cetera. But the key to a good player is finding ways to be effective no matter what. It doesn't matter about efficiency. Everybody's not going to have Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type efficiency on a nightly basis. That's not how it's going to happen for most players. So can you battle through and can you do what you need to do down the stretch of games, in the middle of games, to provide your impact and to let the other team and your team know that you're there? I think Alperen Sengun did that tonight. And I know I said lastly for Sengun. I don't know why I said that. I'm tripping. Lastly, in the good, the great, actually, Jalen Green. 32 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 14 to 24 from the field. And this is the thing, 1 of 7 from 3. 1 of 7 from 3, and he had 32 points on 58% shooting from the floor. That is the type of basketball that I like to see from Jalen Green. He was the best player by far on the Houston Rockets tonight. He was the best player on the floor by far for both teams tonight. It's no competition. What Jalen Green provided is what I have been asking for from a shooting guard of his caliber all season long. These are the types of performances that you need. The 3-ball not falling. Oh, well, I'm still going to get to the line. And he only got to the line 5 times. And yet he still affected the game scoring wise. And he actually got shafted a lot of assists. Jalen was touching the paint every time, making correct reads to corners. Guys were just missing shots. Jalen should almost have a triple-double, I think. The passes that he generated in the first quarter alone, with his behind-the-back dribble, getting to the paint, drawing help, dishing to the side, dishing to the other side, all that alone should have warranted him more assists than what he got. 4 is a disservice to him. And he had 2 highlight dunks tonight. Jalen was phenomenal tonight. No complaints at all. Let's get to the bad. Tari Eason, 10 points, 14 rebounds. He was 3 of 10 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3. Tari Eason he's just in a bad place right now. I don't feel like he's like, even though the Rockets are 11-0 when he starts the season, which is kind of a crazy stat. Tari Eason wasn't his sharpest, even though he did. I'm looking at the numbers. He had a double-double. There was a stretch. There was a play in transition where he threw a turnover. He just struggles. He's struggling in transition this season. It's something we're going to have to deal with. It's here. We in March, and he's still dealing with it. It's not going anywhere. We're going to be talking about this in the playoffs. Prepare for it. Brace yourselves for it. It's going to happen. And then he's just not hitting his 3-ball anymore. Like, Tari used to be a decent shooter. Like, you couldn't just leave Tari open. Like, Tari was going to make a 3 or 2 a night on 4 or 5 attempts. But 0 of 3 tonight, very strange for Tari Eason. I don't really know what's going on. I just think he hit a rough patch, and he'll bounce out of it. He'll scratch and claw out of it just like he's scratching claws in the game. And for the downright ugly, I have none. I have none tonight, y'all. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like and comment below. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what I didn't miss. Let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you disagree with. As always, please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching once again. Red Nation Blogger out.